am calling this one Baseball Nicknames and Other Trivia. You know, there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of baseball players who have nicknames. And generally speaking, the nicknames fall into three categories. Category number one is the nickname is so prominent that the ball player is not known by any name other than his nickname. And frequently, the baseball card that you have, will have the nickname on the front, and some will even have it on the back so that you never know the ball player's real name. There's quite a few of those, but probably in a minority. Category number two is the most common, and that's when you'll have the player's name, like it'll be uh, Bill, and then quote, Swifty Smith. So you know his real name is Bill or William, but his nickname is Swifty, and it'll frequently have on the back of the card also. Category number three is where you don't see the player's nickname at all. However, he is frequently known by his nickname. That's probably the most common, yet the nickname that is the least prevalently used when the ball player is called. So let's get into it. We're going to start out with a category number one. This is a famous ball player who has a famous nickname. In fact, his nickname is so dominant that the ball player was never called anything other than his nickname from a very early age. And a lot of people don't even know his real name, despite the fact that he's a very famous ball player. Do you know who I'm talking about? Well, if you're thinking Babe Ruth, you're correct. Babe Ruth, he's always known as the Babe. Babe Ruth, that's it. If you were talking to somebody and they told you, you know, the greatest ball player ever was George. Yeah, George Ruth. What? He was never called George. He was never even called by his middle name, George Herman Ruth, but he was always the Babe. All of his baseball cards say Babe Ruth, not George Herman, Babe Ruth. That's what he's known by. So I want to show you one of his cards. This is I think a beautiful card. It's 1933 Gaudi. Gaudi produced cards for about 8 years, and like I say, they were very artistic and kind of rejuvenated the baseball card collecting in America, which at that point in time wasn't very big. So let's go to our number two ball player, who's also very famous. This guy, before we leave Babe Ruth, I forgot to ask you, how did he get his nickname, Babe? Well, it's pretty easy. When Babe Ruth was 16 years old, he was a pitcher, and he pitched in a semi-pro league. There were a lot of 18-year-olds in that league, and some 17-year-olds, and a few 16-year-olds, but that's still very young. And at that age, he was very good as a pitcher. And one of the managers watching him pitch said, that guy is just a babe in the woods. He doesn't know what he's doing. He was pretty naive. He was 16. Babe, that's what he called him. That stuck for the rest of his life. Okay. Ball player number two, that's also one of my favorites, is a guy who also got his nickname when he was young and playing in the minor leagues. I'm talking about Joe Jackson, and you know his nickname, Shoeless Joe Jackson. And he got that nickname very early, and he kept it his entire career. Shoeless Joe, that's what he was known as. The kind of ironic thing is that Joe Jackson got this nickname when he was playing in the minors, and he had a new pair of cleats really bothering him. He took them off and he played the whole game barefooted. Ever since, he's been Shoeless Joe Jackson, but actually he played shoeless on only one occasion. Good enough for a nickname, and that is a great nickname, isn't it? This card that I'm showing you now is a 1914 Cracker Jacks. These cards were put into packages of Cracker Jacks in 1914. There was no protection whatsoever, no cellophane, and the cards got deteriorated fairly quickly. And as a result, that series is very rare, and Joe Jackson is one of the rarest and one of the most expensive to buy if you're interested. Of course, what happened to Joe Jackson in 1919 when he was playing for the Chicago White Sox was a real tragedy. He got caught up in the Black Sox scandal of 1919 when the White Sox were playing in the World Series. Several of the players made a deal with a gambler to throw the series. And later they were prosecuted and banned from baseball. I think they got like $5,000, which was like more than their yearly salary. It was probably equivalent to $50,000 in today's money, maybe more. There is a lot of dispute about whether or not Joe Jackson was really a part of this for a couple of reasons. One, he played pretty darn well. He hit over 400 in the World Series. Also, he didn't get any money. He didn't take any money. The consensus seems to be that he was involved and he did agree, but perhaps changed his mind halfway through because, like I said, he played really well. This card that you're looking at is from the 1919 Chicago White Sox. I collected baseball cards from approximately 1955 through 1961. 61, I was in high school and really didn't have time for it, nor frankly the interest. And I put my cards away, never looked at them for 25 years. And when I did finally, I got interested and found out that there were baseball card shows, conventions, and I went to a couple, and I was excited to see so many cards that I had never seen before from the 40s, 30s, 20s, 1910, 1900s. This was in the 1980s when baseball cards exploded. When I was collecting, there was really only one baseball card company, that was Topps. There actually was a second called Bowman, but it didn't produce very much in the 50s. Topps produced from the 50s up to today. Anyway, I discovered, like I said, cards from other periods, one of which was the Gowdy series in the 1930s, which was quite beautiful. But just for a second, I want to talk about the 50s. It was many people consider it the golden age of baseball. Why? Because there were only 8 teams in each league, 8 in the American and 8 in the National League. There was no series playoff. If you came in first, you won the pennant and you went right to the World Series against the champion of the other league. It was a time when you could literally memorize and remember every ball player in the majors. You could certainly remember everybody on your favorite team and that team's biggest rival. Also, there was no free agency, not that many trades, so players stuck with their team a long time. So you came to know them quite well. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit because I basically wanted to talk about various nicknames of so many ball players. So I'm going to talk to you just very briefly about what I deem to be the 4 best hitters from the 1950s. There was 4 of them, and they were pretty awesome. The first one I'll tell you about is my favorite player when I was growing up. In fact, I bet that he was every kid on my block, except for one. This guy was their favorite player. And that was true, I bet you, throughout America. Of course, I'm talking about Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle, his nickname is pretty straightforward. You don't see it on his cards because he's a Category 3. He had this nickname, but it doesn't appear in any documents or any baseball cards. They called him the Mick. The Mick. And he was an incredible player. He won the Triple Crown in 1956. Really should have won it in 1957, but he got injured. In fact, injuries were his demise. Mickey Mantle hit some of the longest home runs known to man. He hit one out of Yankee Stadium, 565 feet. There was another awesome player who also played center field, as did Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle played for the New York Yankees. This guy played for the New York Giants. Actually, many people consider him the greatest ball player of his age. I'm talking about Willie Mays, a truly exciting baseball player. He did everything with flair. He's a great fielder, as I might say, as was Mickey Mantle. And actually, both Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays were extremely fast in the field and on the bases. Anyway, Willie Mays got a nickname quite early. He started out, I believe, in 51 or 52, and he was a rookie, and he was killing it. And so he got a lot of attention from sports writers. And Willie had a habit of saying this. He would say, hey. What about, and he would start his conversation with, say hey. And one of the sports writers named him the Say Hey Kid. The Say Hey Kid. That was Willie Mays. Ball player number 3 is not as flashy as either Willie Mays or Mickey Mantle, but he played longer, he was injury-free, he was consistent. As a result, he was the first player to break Babe Ruth's record for total career home runs. The Babe's record was 714. Hank Aaron broke that record. His nickname was Hammerin' Hank. Again, all 3 of these players in fact all 4 of them I'm going to discuss, were Category 3. Their nicknames did not appear in the baseball cards, and they were only occasionally referred to by their nickname. The Mick, the Say Hey Kid, and Hammerin' Hank Aaron. The last ball player is a guy that started in the 40s. His career was interrupted by the Korean War for 2 years. This guy came out of San Diego, California. He played for the Pacific Coast League San Diego Padres when he was a senior in high school. He lasted only a year and a half in the minors because he was called up by the Boston Red Sox. Of course, I'm referring to Ted Williams, the last player to hit over 400. Ted Williams was nicknamed again by a sports writer, the Splendid Splinter. He was also occasionally referred to as Teddy Ballgame, but most people would, if they want to refer to him by nickname, would use the Splendid Splinter, Ted Williams. I could, give an entire video on any one of these players. They were all great, and they have their own great stories. But let's move on to our next series of guys with nicknames. Hey, bud. Have you heard that before? Hey, bud. A lot of guys are called Bud, Buddy. A lot of ball players were called Bud and Buddy. Here, I'll show you a few real quickly. Bud Byerly, Bud Daly, Buddy Gilbert, Bubba Phillips, Buster Mills, Butch Hobson. Take a look at this Bud Byerly card. He pitched amazingly in the majors for 16 years. The most games he ever won in a year was 6. So you can see in the front, he's Bud Byerly. What's his real name? Is it Bud or what? Well, take a look at the backside. Bud Byerly. No idea what his real name is. I had to look it up. His real name is Eldred William Byerly. How did he get the nickname Bud? His parents called him Bud. I guess they never intended to call him Eldred. Bud Byerly. Let's take a look at our next Bud. This is Bud Daly. Couple things about Bud. This again is a 1960 Topps card. In the front, he's Bud Daly. On the back, he's Bud Daly. Well, what's his deal? Is that his real name or not? His real name is Levitt. Levitt Leo. You know, you could have called him Lev, or you could have called him Leo, but he's Bud. Again, Bud Daly, just like Bud Byerly, got his nickname from his parents, Bud. Very popular nickname that becomes the real name. Okay, let's take a look at our next buddy, our next Bud. Actually, this guy is Buddy, and I'm talking about Buddy Gilbert. This is, again, a 1960 Topps card. You can see the card says Buddy Gilbert. Take a look at the back. Want to find his real name? No such luck. Buddy Gilbert. How do you get that name? What's his real name? Well, the guy's real name is Drew Edward. Those are two decent names. What happened here? Well, it wasn't his parents that started calling him Buddy. It was a high school friend. So I suppose for several years he was called Drew or Eddie, I don't know. Okay, our next ball player is not a Bud or a Buddy, it's Bubba. I'm talking Bubba Phillips. Again, take a look at his card. Bubba Phillips on the back, Bubba Phillips. They just weren't giving real names out. If you're Bubba, you're Bubba. This guy got his name, his nickname, which I guess became sort of his real name. Everybody called him Bubba Phillips. He was a good fielding third baseman during the 50s. He got nicknamed by his brother. Not unusual, I suppose. Our next card, this is a 1952 Topps. This is not a Bud or a Buddy or a Bubba. This is a Buster. And I'm talking Buster Mills here. Take a look at this card. Now, I think with Buster, we are going to see his real name. If you will take a look at the the back side of the card, you will note that this guy's got a great name. He's the Colonel. Colonel Buster Mills. His real name was Buster, his middle name at least. So this is not a nickname. Buster's his real name, his middle name. I thought a kind of a humorous note about the Colonel Buster Mills is that this guy was in the Army. He was a private, and he, of course, loved at that time calling himself Colonel. And some of his pals would always salute him because he was a colonel. Anyway, that's Buster Mills. Okay, our next guy, none of the above, Bud, Buddy, Buster. This is Butch Hobson. Now, Butch Hobson. Let's, you can see the front of the card, he's Butch Hobson. The back of the card, will it tell us his real name? Take a look. Well, yes, it does. Clell Laverne Hobson Jr. I like that name, Clell. Not too many Clells around. I wonder if they called him Clell when he was a kid. I don't know. Laverne? Sounds like Laverne and Shirley. I don't think Laverne was it. So no wonder they called him Butch at a very young age. Butch played for the Angels, not too long. He was no great shakes, but he was Butch. Oh, an interesting fact about Butch, after he finished his relatively short career in professional baseball, he became a manager for one of the minor league teams. I didn't know this, one located in Chicago, the American Association. And the Chicago team, they had a great name. They were the Chicago Dogs. I wonder what their uniforms look like. The Chicago Dogs. Wow, great name. Oh, hey, before we leave the Bees, let's take a look at this guy. This guy played for the Twins, obviously. Boof, B-O-O-F, Bosner, Boof Bosner. Wow. This, again, not a nickname. It's his real name, Boof. Wow, I love his parents. What should we name him? I like Boof. Boof is a great name. Okay, Boof Bosner. Wow. This guy, as I said, played for the Twins, had a short career. The most exciting thing about Boof was he was their lead pitcher. When he came out, all the fans would go, Boof! Yeah, Boof, Boof. Not to be confused with Boo. Okay, one more guy that I almost forgot about. Love this guy's name too. Totally love it. And he's for real. Let's take a look at this guy. This is, yeah, Budweiser. Who would have thunk it? Budweiser. God, that's a great name. Let's find out what his real name is, if it's Bud or what. Budweiser, I love it. Harry, oh, his middle name is Budson, B-U-D-S-O-N, Harry Budson Weiser. Wow. He only played 2 seasons in the majors. He was 5'11", 165 pounds. He got into baseball because it was much better than going to the mines, which is where his dad was and where he would have went. But for baseball, Budweiser, that's a great one. Okay, moving on. We all know the first Major League Baseball team to have an African American on the roster, on the team. That, of course, was the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1948 when they brought up Jackie Robinson, who had been playing in the minors in Montreal, Canada. Since that time, throughout the 50s, other teams started bringing up African Americans to be on their roster and to play on their team. The first in the American League was the Cleveland Indians, who brought up a guy named Larry Doby. You know, not that well known. If you're the first, everybody knows you. Jackie Robinson. Wow. First in the American League, Larry Doby. Not so well known. Question. Trivia question. What was the last major league team to have an African American on their roster? Well, I'll tell you, it was the Boston Red Sox, and they didn't have an African American until 1959. And it was this guy. Take a look. His rookie year, 1959, he was a starter. Pumpsie Green. I like that name, Pumpsie. Haven't heard it before or since. Pumpsie Green. What's his real name? Let's take a look in the back of the card. This is his rookie card. Pumpsie Green. No clue. Okay. Here's, I think this is a 62. Still on the Red Sox. The front, Pumpsie Green. The back will tell us that he is Pumpsie Green. No clue. What's his real name? Well, I had to look it up. His real name is Elijah, E-L-I-J-A-H. That was his dad's name. Middle name, pretty simple, Jerry. I was thinking he was probably called Eli or Elijah when he's a kid, but not really. Why? Because his mom nicknamed him Pumpsie, Pumpsie Green. Now, before we leave Pumpsie, I gotta remind you something which you probably don't remember. In one of my earlier videos where I talked a whole lot about the Pacific Coast League and a guy who played for the PCL Los Angeles Angels, Steve Bilko, and a guy that played for the Hollywood Stars, Carlos Bernier. You might recall in 1954, Carlos Bernier played quite a bit for the Boston Red Sox. Carlos was half Cuban, half African. But nobody ever counts him as the first black player to be on the Red Sox. It's always Pumpsie Green. Just an oddity for you. Here's a guy who played in the majors from 1953 through 1961. He was an outfielder. He was a good player. He was a power hitter. He hit a lot of home runs. Here he is. I'm talking Rip Rapolsky. And he could rip the ball, believe me. When I think of Rip, I always think of R.I.P., rest in peace, Rip Rapolsky. What was his real name? Take a look on the back side. This is a 1961 Topps card. Rip Rapolsky. They just don't tell you. Okay, let's take a look at this 1959 card. Here he's playing for the Phillies. Look at the back. He's Rip Rapolsky. What is his name? Now take a look at this. This is a Topps card from I believe this is a 52. He's playing for the Cardinals. That's who he started with. And you can see in quotes, Rip Rapolsky. I like it. Rip Rapolsky. What's his real name? Do they have it? Oh, yes, they do. Eldon John. Not Elton John. Eldon, E-L-D-O-N. Elton John Rapolsky. They asked him how he got his nickname, and he said he didn't know. But he had been known for a long time as Rip Rapolsky. Well, you know, he is not the only Rip in the majors. Here we have Rip Coleman, played for the Kansas City Athletics. You know, the Oakland Athletics, soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics, were, of course, before Oakland, they were the Kansas City Athletics, and before they were the Kansas City Athletics, they were the Philadelphia Athletics. Anyway, Rip Coleman, What is this guy's real name? By the way, I love this set. This is one of my favorites, a 1957 Topps. Look at the back. This is Walter G. Coleman. Well, Rip Coleman, he was 6 years in the majors. I'm amazed these guys could hang around as long as they could, because this guy won. He's a pitcher. He won 7 games and lost 25. Back then, pitchers hit. This guy had a batting average of .072. Rip earned his nickname after another Rip, Rip Collins, who was a good first baseman for the old St. Louis Cardinals. And this guy didn't play first base. He played pitcher. I don't know. Anyway, they named him after Rip Collins, nicknamed Rip. And you can see from the front of the card, Rip. That's what he was known by. Granny Hamner. He was a shortstop and second baseman who played throughout the 50s. He was a very good player, a great fielder. In fact, in the early 50s, he was known as the best fielding shortstop in the majors. That was until Chico Carrascal came along. Granny Hamner. Let's take a look to see if that's his real name in the back, or if that's just his nickname. No, just says Granny. That's the 1959 Topps for you. Never gave the real guy's real name, because his name really isn't Granny, and we can tell here. This is a 1956. I like these cards too. It's my second year collecting Topps. Shortstop for the Phillies. Flick it over. Oh yeah, Granville Wilbur. Granville. So I read that Granny, he really did not like his nickname, but he was Granny. I mean, he's Granny on the front of both of these cards, and I think all his cards. Nobody called him Granville. I don't know what they called him other than Granny, and he kind of hated that name. You know, for his sake, I really hope his grandkids didn't call him Granny also. Next up, 2 of my favorite baseball cards from the 50s. Take a look. We've got Coot Veal and Cot Deal. Who do you like? Coot Veal or Cot Deal? Coot or Cot? I think these two guys, I really wish they would have been on the same team. Coot and Cot, or Cot and Coot. Veal and Deal. Interchangeable virtually. Really like these guys. Anyway, Coot, take a look at Coot. He played for the Tigers for most of his very mediocre career in the 50s. There was a Tiger broadcaster named Mel Ott, who actually is a Hall of Famer baseball player who played for the New York Giants. Anyway, Mel Ott, he loved Coot Veal. Why? I'll tell you why. Every time Veal came up and he swung down on a ball and bounced it in front of the plate, he would always call it, "That's a Veal chop." Yeah, Coot Veal could really hit those Veal chops. Or when he checked his swing on a pitch, what's that? That's a Veal cutlet. Goes on and on. And the Tiger broadcaster, Mel Ott, he had a sense of humor. He said, I really wish the Tigers would play the Milwaukee Braves in the World Series. Why? Because the Braves had a first baseman named Frank Torre, T-O-R-R-E. And he said, I would love it if Frank Torre came up and he had a line drive to the shortstop that Coot Veal caught. That would be a Veal cacciatore. It was Coot's high school coach that named him Coot. Not exactly sure why. What was his real name? Coot. Really, you think that was his name? No, it wasn't. We can't tell from the back of the baseball card, but his real name was Orville. O-R-V-I-L-L-E. Orv? I don't know. Orville. Orville Inman Deal, otherwise known as Coot. love it. Um, Now, Cot Deal. You can see in this 1952 Topps card, Cot is obviously a nickname. It's in quotes. I like it when they do that. Let's flip the card over. We'll figure out his real name. Ellis Ferguson Deal. Ellis is not a bad name. Ellis Ferguson Cot Deal. He was a pitcher and a switch hitter, because, you know, pitchers hit in those days. He was named Cot because he had, I guess, cotton top hair color. Oh well, okay. Say goodbye to Coot and Cot. You're gonna like this next one. Take a look. Whammy Douglas. Yeah, he's for real. That's his name, Whammy Douglas. Both cards, we have on the left here, we have a 1959 Topps. Let's find out his real name on the back. Of course, it's not there. It's Whammy. Wow, really? Whammy? Come on. And then we have this is a 58 Whammy. On the back, no, it's Whammy. Whammy Douglas. Hey, take a close look at Whammy, if you will. This card, this 1959 Topps when he was with the Pirates. Notice anything unusual about Whammy? Whammy had a glass eye. In fact, he had one since he was 13. He was involved in a childhood accident and lost one of his eyes and had a glass eye ever since. Whammy was quite a good pitcher for a while. He got his nickname when he was 17 or 18, and pitched in the American Legion. Actually, I pitched in the American Legion, played in the American Legion one summer when I was 18, graduated from high school. Whammy had quite a fastball, and so that's going to come into how he got his name. So there's been some dispute about it, but one version is that his glass eye gave the appearance that he could give you the evil eye, putting the whammy on you and opposing batters. But if you asked Whammy, he would tell you no. When I was on the American Legion team, he said I was literally striking everybody out, everybody, and it was like wham, wham, and they started calling me Whammy. And you know, hey, I guess it stuck. Look at the cards, Whammy Douglas. Really? Wow. Okay, Whammy. Before we leave Whammy, we should find out his real name. I did look it up. Charles William. He could have been Charles. He could have been Bill, William. He could have been Chuck. But no, he was Whammy. Whammy. Okay. Hey, let's go to the Rockies. I'm talking Rocky Bridges and Rocky Nelson. Here they are. Two fun guys who played in the 50s. Rocky Bridges played 11 years, 1951 to 1961. He played for, the Brooklyn Dodgers, Cincinnati Redlegs, St. Louis Cardinals in the National League. Then over in the American, he played for the Washington Senators, Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Indians, and the Los Angeles Angels of the American League. Rocky, how did he get his nickname? Well, it was when he was playing Class A ball in Greenville, South Carolina. The public address announcer, he just started calling him Rocky for no particular reason other than he said, he looks like a Rocky. And so he was called Rocky, and you can see from his cards, yeah, he's Rocky. It's we take a look at this. This is a 1961. Of course, it has Rocky on the back. But I bet we can take a look at this 1955 Bowman baseball card. Famous, the only cards ever produced that had a TV border. Yeah, TV was just coming into its own about 1955. I think that was about when we got our first TV. Okay, take a look at the back. What's his real name? It's got Rocky on it. Oh, so I guess I had to look this one up because I know what his real name is. Everett Lamar Rocky Bridges. Um, Rocky, he looks like a ball player. In fact, he looks more like a ball player than any other ball player, perhaps, who ever lived. Um, he was definitely a Rocky, and he definitely looked like a ball player. I can tell you that Rocky Bridges was also one of the most popular players ever to put on a uniform. He was pure hustle, desire, and spirit. He was really very much an average ball player at best, but he did play 11 years. You got to give him credit for that. Actually, anybody that ever makes the majors, you got to give him credit. Next guy up, not quite as colorful. This is Rocky Nelson. Again, his first card, the 1950, this is a 1960 Topps. He's Rocky on the front and he's Rocky on the back. Now, the 1952 Topps, when he's playing for the Indians, it's got, quote, Rocky Nelson on the back. We'll find his real name. Yeah, Glenn Richard Nelson. This guy, he played 9 seasons, 49 through 57. How did Rocky Nelson get his nickname? Actually, he was in the minor league playing, and they were playing Pepper. You remember Pepper is where one guy has a bat and he's just constantly, one guy throws it to him, the other guy hits it constantly. It's an infielder's drill. So one time, Rocky Glenn Nelson was playing Pepper, and the ball came and hit him right in the head. Didn't even bother him. The coach who was playing Pepper with him, of course, called him Rocky, and forever after he was Rocky. And I'm sure there's some other Rockies in the majors, but that's all I got for now.